Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, why don't we start off at another gas station tonight. This one is closed for the night. And I just pulled in here to get started and to make sure everything was situated. I have coffee for the evening. And I left my other coffee cup in here earlier. So I made coffee in this. I really like this green Starbucks cup. I think this was from the holiday collection last year. It just, the thing is, it's very much like a thermos. The thing is that it doesn't, like I just made the coffee probably like 10 minutes ago and it's like already starting to cool down a little bit. It just doesn't hold the heat quite as well. This one does pretty good. This is from Starbucks, but those swig cups, they like unbelievably hold the heat. And if you're drinking an iced drink, they really hold, or like a you know, like a can of pop or something, they like keep them cold for hours. So anyway, it is currently 2:09 a.m. on this freezing cold Sunday going into Monday morning. It is currently 32 degrees outside. It feels colder than that. Although it's not very windy tonight. It's very still. And I just woke up about a half an hour ago and was doing a little shopping online. Well, by shopping I say I bought one thing. So I was reading the comments on the vlog from last night, and I was reading everybody's suggestions for like dessert and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? You only live once. I want to try the pie cakein'. Caroline will get a kick out of the pie cakein'. Alex won't eat any of it because he doesn't like pecan or pumpkin pie. Alex's mom will get a huge kick out of it. David will love it. Michael eat a piece of it, and so will Caroline's stepson and his wife. So I was like, you know what, and each of us can take out one piece, and I think that's enough. So I was like, I'm gonna order this outrageously expensive. I have to tell you, on Goldbelly, which is where you order it through, you guys, there are some cakes, pie cakes that are very similar to the pie cakein' that are like $350. I was like, okay, but I ordered the pie cakein'. I will be taking pictures of it on Thanksgiving. I will be doing, I don't know if I'll be doing, I should do a review over there. Oh, Caroline and I should do a review on Thanksgiving of the pie cakein'. That would be fun. But I'm really, really excited about that. So I have that to be delivered before Thanksgiving, so it should be good. And shipping and handling was free, which I was really surprised. But there were like certain dates that if you ordered it, I don't know if this is just like Goldbelly or if this is just the pie cakein' or whatever. So Goldbelly, if you guys have never seen it before, I didn't know anything about Goldbelly. I thought this was really cool. Goldbelly is like a food service, a food delivery service. I know this is not sponsored, but doesn't it sound like it is? So they have tons of restaurants on there. Like I put in like dinner rolls because I thought, well, if I'm gonna bring dinner rolls from Taylor's Bakery, maybe I should try somewhere else. And they have like restaurants that are really famous in like Texas and like New York and all over that you can like ship food to your house. And they have all kinds of desserts. They have full Thanksgiving meals that you can order. I mean, it's not just Thanksgiving food, it's all year round. And the chef that makes the pie cakein', which is like, it's not specifically for Thanksgiving, but like that's what it's known for because it's pecan and a pumpkin pie. He also has a Christmas cake, and it's called like the Christmas pie cakein'. And then there's like a St. Patrick's Day one, a Mother's Day one. I mean, there's like 10 different pie cakeins'. There's like a Passover one. There's really, there's all different kinds on there. There's like individual birthday ones, I think. And then a couple people recommended Junior's cheesecake. And I was gonna go and I was gonna buy a Junior's cheesecake to take it over as well. Because Alex loves cheesecake and whatever. Although Alex isn't really picky on like how great the cheesecake is. He just likes cheesecake. I mean, you can get him a slice of cheesecake from the grocery store and he's totally fine with that, right? And it was like $69, you guys, for this cheesecake. And I was like, oh my God, I mean, that has got to be some cheesecake on top of the pie cake. And I was like, that is more the dessert than we need. So I'm gonna run to a nicer grocery store and get a little small cheesecake, or I might go to Cheesecake Factory and pick up like a smaller, like pre-made cheesecake for Alex and whoever else wants that. So David, whenever I bring like multiple desserts, that's Caroline's son, he always wants to try like every dessert, you know. So anyway, he loves dessert with coffee, and so that it'll be fun. I'm excited. I'm really excited for Thanksgiving this year, and I just thought that'll make it more fun. And I always make my worst purchasing decisions late at night, you know, like when I sit on that computer and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy this. Like I just ordered all of this holiday poopery, which, I mean, you couldn't possibly use 4 bottles of poopery between now and, I mean, maybe you could, I guess, depending on if you have a large family. But I just bought 4 bottles of holiday poopery, and one of them is, they don't have it on their website. I like had to buy it through like Etsy or something, and it's called Santa's Kiss, and Caroline has it. And it smells, A, it smells really good, and B, the bottle, it's really cute because it has like Santa Claus on it and stuff. And I was like, I want this poopery, so I ordered it. But then I bought 3 bottles of their like new flavors that they have for the holidays as well. And those just came today. So that was my night. I got home from Tanya and I staying, I'll talk about that in just a second. We went out to dinner afterwards. I got home. It was like super early. It felt really late. We got home about 8:30 or 9, I think. Well, let's see. Yeah, I got home about 8:30, and I laid down, and I was exhausted. And Alex was watching I Know What You Did Last Summer, the television show. He really likes it. I said, is it good? He goes, it's really good. And so he was watching that, and I got into bed, and we talked for a little bit about my friend's celebration for life, and I kind of snuggled with the dogs and stuff, and then I said, I'm gonna lay down for a little bit, because I was so tired. So, first of all, I just want to say, I'm really glad, like I said to Tanya, I was like, you think I need to like wear a suit to this thing? She goes, Peter, I think it's gonna be really laid back. And I'm so happy that Tanya said that, because there were like, well, our 2 friends that we sat with there from meetings that we've known for 20 plus years, like they both wore suits. It's a father and a son. They both wore suits, but they wore suits to everything. The rest of the crowd, the entire crowd, it was in jeans and like sweaters, or jeans and like flannel shirts, because it was so like laid back. You guys, I have been to so many celebrations for life in my life, and honestly, and I know people say this a lot, like, you know, about each one, but like this truly was so fitting for him. And he organized this whole thing before he passed away, and it was just so cool. It was just really, really cool. So, I picked up Tanya, and we went through Dunkin' Donuts and got coffee. And it was so funny, because she's like, this is better than Starbucks. I said, I know, I'm like obsessed with Dunkin' Donuts lately, Tanya. I don't know what it is. And she goes, now you just get a plain black coffee. And I said, yeah. And she goes, you used to get like an iced coffee. I said, yeah, I still like the iced coffee like in the summer, but in the winter I've been drinking a lot of hot coffee. I said, I just spent like $80 last night on these K-Cups. And she got like a vanilla latte, a hot vanilla latte with an extra shot of vanilla and whip. And she said it was really, really good. She said it was so much better than the Starbucks one. So anyway, we drove to the celebration for life. So my friend lived in a really small town. And it was so interesting, because we went there, and I mean, I've been to his house, but his house is before you like actually get to the town part of it. And the town part of it is like, I mean, Tanya and I were just like, oh my God. It was like Haddonfield, Illinois in the Halloween movies. Each house was like a brick, it looked like a brownstone building, or like a brick Victorian. There were a lot of Victorian houses. It was so cute, you guys. Trees were like full of leaves that were falling down. I mean, it was the most adorable little town. And so we got there like a half an hour early, and I had the, you know, GPS and the maps and stuff like that. And Tanya was like, she's like, I've got to go to the bathroom. She's like, oh, well, when we pulled into town, like off the interstate, there was like a Starbucks and like a Culver's, and it's Franklin, Indiana. So, and there was like a Starbucks and a Culver's and like a Taco Bell and like some grocery store. And so we like, Tanya's like, just drive for a little bit because we were early. So we drove, and that's when we drove through the town, and it was like so cute. And Tanya was like, I have to go to the bathroom. And I said, well, do you mean to pull back, go back there? And she was like, well, just keep on driving through town and whatever. And so then we got to like where you had to turn left or right. And she goes, just turn left and go into like the main part of the square. And it was so funny because we were like, I knew where it was at. I was at this movie theater. And so I was looking and I go, Tanya, his name is on the movie theater. I said, we didn't even need to look at the map thing. It's right there. We were right here. And so right as we were pulling in to the parking lot, it didn't start until 5:30. Right as we were pulling into the parking lot, it was like 5 after 5. One of our friends from like our home group, he was like walking in, and so we like rolled down our window and said hi to him. And so Tanya said, let's just go. She goes, people are going in, let's just go in. So here's the story. My sponsor, my friend, owned movie theaters. And it started because when he was in high school, he worked for a movie theater. This movie theater, I think. And then he ended up buying this movie theater, and they showed old movies. I mean, it's really cool, you guys. I'll show you some pictures in a second. It's an old-fashioned movie theater, like on the square in like a downtown, old town. And like when we pulled up, the movies, so his name was on the, oh shoot, what's that called? You know, the thing where they say the movie names, it was like all in lights and stuff. And they had a red carpet walking up, like a premiere to a movie. They had it all like lined out with like the, you know, the posts and stuff. And the movies that were playing this week were The Bells of St. Mary, and I can't remember the other one, but he loved old movies. And so he had sold this theater years and years ago. He had sold it. And he ended up opening like a movie complex that had like a drive-in and like 7, like, and then inside it had like 7 or 8. This was in another city. So he had over the years like owned like, I think it was like 17 movie theaters. He was obsessed with movies, and he was obsessed with movie popcorn. And Tanya was talking about it tonight. It was so funny because like we stood up, like, so when we got in, like you walked in, and it's like an old movie theater, right? Like when you walk in, it's like the concession stand is like right as you walk in. And so they had this big, huge popcorn maker, and they had like, you know, fountain pops and candy, and it was all free tonight. Like whatever you wanted was free. So we were like one of the first people in, and we were talking to his ex-wife and his son, because like we knew them from the past. And well, Tanya knew like his wife and son really well, and because they used to come over to her house for like Super Bowl parties and stuff like that. And then we were talking to some other people that we knew through him. We were kind of like looking at the pictures and stuff. We didn't really understand like at first what was going on, because that was like the entry area of the movie theater, like where they just had like this table set out, and they had all these pictures of him like on this board, and then they had like all of his coins laid out and stuff. And I was kind of like, is this just like, are we just gonna like stand around here and like, you know, it was kind of by the bathrooms. It was like this small, just like little, you know, entry area into the movie theater, or to the movie theater. And I thought, okay, so this is, I thought we were just gonna stand here. And Tanya's like, I'm gonna go get some popcorn. Do you wanna get some popcorn? And I was like, girl, nobody getting no popcorn at this thing. And they all were saying like, get popcorn. So Tanya comes around the corner. She's so funny. She looks so cute tonight. And she's like real into leather right now. Like to the banquet last week, and she wore like this leather pants and leather, it was like this jacket that like buttoned up with these cool buttons, and then she had these leather pants, and she wore them with like heels. And tonight she had on leather joggers. They were so cute, you guys, with these really cute boots. And then she had on like this, like, she was like leather and lace, and she had on like this white like lace shirt. It was really pretty. And so anyway, she looked so good. She looked so cute tonight. And so and yeah, like I said, I'm glad I didn't wear a suit, because I wore my black jeans, which I don't have on right now. And then I just wore this black button-down short sleeve shirt, Ralph Lauren shirt. And then I wore my new Doc Marten boots, which I'm absolutely obsessed with. They're like these platform boots. Chelsea boots, and I was like, these are gonna be so uncomfortable. Alex has a pair of just the regular lace-up Doc Marten boots, and I think they're so hot on him. And I was like, I really wanted a pair of the Chelsea platform boots, because I also like, it'll make me tall, you know? And it was such hell getting these boots on, but once I got them on, I was like, at first they kind of hurt my one arch of my foot, and then like after like half an hour, I was like completely fine, and they were so comfortable all night long. I was like, this was a great buy. So I love those. But anyway, so Tanya comes around the corner, and she's got a fountain pop in one hand and this huge bucket of popcorn in the other, and she's so funny, and I don't know, it just was cracking me up, because he would have loved that. He would have like so loved that. So we stood there for a while, and we were like talking to our friend, and like we kept on seeing people come in, and they were like going to the right, and so I was like kind of watching to the right where the restrooms were. And this guy said to this woman that was kind of like, I think she worked at the movie theater, and he said, do we go where the arrow is? And she said, yeah, the slideshow is if you just follow the arrow. And I was like, oh, the slideshow, like, you know, when people put together like for a funeral or whatever. We did that with my mom. And so I just assumed it was like some little, I don't know, like banquet room or something, the slideshow. So we turned the corner, you guys. I'd never been to this movie theater before. All the years of him talking about it, I had never been there. We turned the corner, and it is this ginormous, beautiful, old school movie theater. I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe this. I'm gonna show you guys some pictures here in just a second. If you saw the picture of Tanya, you'll see she's sitting in the movie. We were like one of the first people that kind of in the back part of it. And here, I'll pull in here and show you guys. It was like, so I sat on a seat that was like one of those pull-down seats that has like 2 seats on it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Of course it's going out of focus. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like a double-seater. Like, I forgot about those in movie theaters. You guys remember that? We're on like, as like a couple could sit there together as a date. So, hold on a second. Why is this guy like walking out to my car? So this is what the movie theater looked like in the inside. It was huge. And then you could see like they had like a movie theater, and that's where they were showing the slideshow of his life. And it was really cool because he was really well known for like keeping old movies alive in Indianapolis and playing them at old movie theaters and stuff like that. So a lot of the footage, like a lot of it wasn't just slides, a lot of it was like interviews that he had done with local television stations and stuff through the years when he was like a lot younger. He was such a cool guy. But there were a lot of pictures that were like flashed up there too, of like people that he knew. There was like a lot of, so that was just like, it was really cool. And so we sat there with our friends, our 3 other friends that came from our home group, and we talked to them for like probably, I don't know, half an hour or so. And then our one friend had to leave to chair a meeting tonight, and our other friend had to leave. And so the 3 of them left. And then Tanya and I were sitting there, and they were like, we listened to some of the, they were like talking a lot about like, well, they would talk, and then they would stop, and then they would talk, and then it was kind of like people, a lot of people came, a lot of people left, a lot of people came. It was just kind of like a viewing kind of thing. And so they were doing like, talking of like his like love of movies, and like this guy got up and from the Historical Society, I think, and talked about that and whatever. So we sat there for a while and listened to all of that. It was really nice. It was, he did it, he put it together, but like, I think his son was the one that was like talking to people. They did such a wonderful job of really like embracing who he was as a person. And so anyway, it was just a really, really nice experience. And when I was leaving, I was walking out, and we were walking past the concession stand, and I knew we had like an hour drive, and I said to the woman at the concession stand, I said, she goes, do you need popcorn? Because by then everybody had popcorn, because everybody was sitting watching the slideshow, eating popcorn and drinking Coke, which is what he wanted. And he like was so like specific about how movie popcorn should be. Like he would have a certain, it had to have more butter and more butter and more butter. And Tanya was talking and telling stories about how she remembered, like, when we would all go to the lake, he'd be like, now that we need more butter on that popcorn, it's not perfect yet. And so that was like the whole thing. So anyway, so when we were leaving, I said to the woman, she's like, do you need popcorn? I said, no, but can I get a fountain pop to go, please? And she was like, oh yeah, sure. And so she got me she had like a little small cup. They were like, you could have any size you wanted. I said, can I get a large? She's like, yeah. So I got a large Dr. Pepper and took it with me. And then on the way home, Tanya and I decided that we were gonna go eat. And I said, where do you wanna go? And she said, you pick. She's like, you can go wherever you wanna go. So I said, okay. I said, let's go to Brew Burger, because Alex never really wants to go to Brew Burger. And so, Brew Burger is where I can get an Impossible burger, but I can get any of their burgers, of which they're, like, they have like 12 or 15, 10 or 15 burgers on their menu. And you can get any burger. Like, so I always get the 4 cheese and garlic burger, but an Impossible patty. So anyway, we called our sponsor, because Tanya's like, call her and see if she wants to go to dinner with us. So we called our sponsor to see if she wanted to go with dinner with us. But she was on her way to, like, everybody is talking about this new Ross Dress for Less that is opened. I'm feeling like for my Peter Does Stuff channel, I need to go there. I've never been to Ross Dress for Less in my life. And this one is like brand new and everybody is talking about it. And she's like, I heard they just got a new shipment in. There's a coat that I'm looking for. And she was like, I'm hoping that they have it at Ross. And I said, I've never been to Ross. She goes, what? I said, I've never been to Ross before. And Tanya goes, I haven't either. And she goes, what? You've never been to Ross before? And I go, no. And she goes, oh my God. And she goes, okay, well, I have things I have to go find there. She goes, but if I get done in time, I'll come to dinner with you guys. And I said, okay, but she didn't get done in time. So we went to Brew Burger, and they sat us by the window, and it was so cold that we moved. And it was really cute. There was this table of, like, it so reminded me of my girlfriends in high school. There was this table of like 4 girls and 1 guy, and they were all probably like, well, they must have been younger than 16 because they were waiting for their parents to show up. It was funny because we were talking to our waitress about it, our server, and she was like, yeah, I was trying to figure out how old they were, because it was, I mean, obviously they had birthday hats on. I mean, they were these little tiny birthday hats. And she was like, yeah, I was asking if they were going out to the bars afterwards to party. And I was like, what? She's like, well, I couldn't really figure out how old they were. And I was like, girl, they were not 21 by any means. But they were like so innocent, and the guy got up first. It was so funny because he almost kind of had hair like me in high school. And he got up first, and like each of these girls like stood up, and they were like giving these huge hugs, and they're like, I love you so much. I love you so much. They had been shopping. They had all these shopping bags and stuff like that. And they were just like real sweet kids, like innocent kids, you know? And I was telling Tanya, I said, well, we were talking to the server about this too. And I said, I feel like this is the second, like, a day I've had this conversation. It's like, knowing what I know now, I wish I could, I mean, I had fun in high school with my friends. I did, okay? I even had fun, like, you know, partying and stuff like that. Not always, but I did. But knowing what I know now, I wish I could go back and do it differently. And, you know, I would do it differently. I wouldn't drink. I wouldn't use drugs. Knowing what I know now, and I would work harder on my grades, and I would just I wouldn't change my friends. I had fantastic friends, and I don't think that they would have forced me to drink or use if I didn't want to. They weren't like that, you know? And I think I would have just binge-watched TV shows and made my room really cute. I didn't really spend that much time in my room at my mom's house, you know? I would have, like, made a room that I enjoyed, and I would have focused more on, like, trying to get into a college and, you know, and just really enjoyed being in high school. Like I was telling Tanya, I said I lived between a state of like being effed up and fear. Like it was one or the other. Like, so I just never really enjoyed much of my experience unless I was with my friends, like on the weekends, you know? I don't know. So anyway, then we talked to our server forever, who was absolutely delightful. She was about 6 foot tall, gorgeous. And so she reminded me of somebody, and I was like, who do people tell you that you look like? Because you really look like somebody. And she goes, people tell me that I look like a mix between Margot Robbie and Sharon Stone. And I was like, oh my God. I mean, it was like uncanny. Like, I could see where Margot Robbie ended and Sharon Stone started. Like, it was so surreal, you guys. So we ended up talking to her, and she just was like, I mean, we walked out there. Tanya was like, she's fantastic. She was like so fantastic. She just was. She was so delightful to talk to, and she was telling us about these interviews that she has, and she just graduated from college and stuff like that. And Tanya's like, we interview people. I go, I know we do, because we were like asking her 50 questions, but she loved it. She loved us. We were having so much fun. So anyway, we left there, and then I took Tanya home. She was like, do you want to go get a fountain pop? I said, Tanya, I am, like, no offense, but I am, like, really tired. So she was like, that's okay. I mean, we had, like, 15 drinks going at that point. We had coffees and fountain pops. And I was like, I just need to go home. And then I came home and I lay down. And, you know, Alex was like, are you doing okay? Well, it was interesting because in the car on the way home, Tanya said, like, that was perfect. Like, Mike would have loved that. She said, but I feel like I need to cry. And I said, have you not cried about this? And she said, Peter, since I stepped off the plane the other day, she goes, I have been running. And she said, I don't really feel like I've had, like, a moment to really, like, get emotional about stuff, you know? Because I was telling her that, like, I was, like, bawling my eyes out when I was on the way to the airport the other day. That drive was really cathartic for me. I just listened to music and I just bawled my eyes out, you know? And today was really good for me because it truly was, like, a celebration for life. Like, I was just sitting there looking at this stuff and I thought, man, this person that I loved took what he loved. I mean, he started working in a movie theater doing popcorn. That's why he loved movie popcorn. And he turned that into a lifelong, very successful career of owning movie theaters, you know? And I just thought that's so cool, you know, that you turn your passion into something that you love. I mean, that's really, like, right there a recipe for living, you know? That's really, like, you want to talk about role modeling something, like, that to me is just really so cool. And so yeah, it really truly was like a celebration of life. Like, Alex said to me, he goes, how do you feel? He's like, do you feel a little bit better having gone there? Because I was just really having, like, breakdown moments this week. And I said, yeah. I said, you know, I feel much better. I do. It was good for me to go to that. And I don't think because of any of those BS words like closure, or I don't feel like it gave me any more closure, you know? I still miss the hell out of my friend. I'm sad that he's gone. I don't want him to be in any pain. And he was in a lot of pain. He told me that, you know? But I don't know. It was a beautiful celebration of life. I mean, there's nothing more to say than the title that it was, you know? It just really was. It was really nice. There's always, like, this weird finality to things, though. You know, I always think about this when somebody passes away. It's like, you know, I was sent, it doesn't matter. I was sent the obituary of somebody else that had passed away, you know, and, like, knew about the burial and stuff like that. And I just was like, this is so weird. Like, this person that, like, I knew so well is, like, literally gone for good, you know? And it's like, I feel like that on so many different levels this week. It's just like the finality of that. I don't know, just like, I'll never talk to this person again, you know, like it's over. Like, it's so weird to me. Like, I don't know, it's just so bizarre. I was thinking about that movie, I think it's Night Mother. You guys have ever seen it? It's a Marsha Norman play. I remember later I saw it, and I, like, kind of weirdly fell in love with this movie. And I remember telling my dad about it, and my dad had seen it in Banff, Canada, when he would go. It stopped. I don't even know where I'm at the end of. I haven't looked at the camera in a couple minutes, so I don't know where it stopped. But I was talking about the finality of life, and then I was talking about this movie, Night Mother, with Sissy Spacek and Anne Bancroft, that I absolutely love, but it's so tragically sad. And something that is said in that movie. And, but I was saying that I remember telling my dad about how much I loved this movie. It had been a Marcia Norman play first. And my dad had seen the play in Banff, Canada. I think it's Alberta, because he used to go hiking in the Canadian Rockies. Like when I was growing up as a kid, like after he and my mom got separated, he used to go hiking like for 2.5, 3 weeks every year. And he went and saw that play, like, so he would stay in Banff, like, before he went up, like, in a bed and breakfast, and then when he came back down. And, I was just getting ready to tell a story about, like, one time he was, like, up in the mountains all by himself, and he heard something, like, in the middle of the night, and it was a bear, and a bear got into his, I mean, he had to go down, like, he was like a day and a half up, and he had to go back down because, like, the bear took all of his stuff. He said my dad, who is not a fearful person, like, I don't know why I just thought of this, but, like, my dad is not a fearful person, like, at all. He was like, that is the most scared I have ever been in my entire life. So, but anyway, on one of these trips, my dad, I've talked about this story before, my dad met this woman, and she was hiking too, and she was from somewhere in Australia, I can't remember now, but she was the editor on the movie The Man from Snowy River. Did you ever see that movie? She was the editor on that movie. And so, because I can remember when she came to Indianapolis, we, like, watched the movie, and then and I never really understood the movie very well, but I was a kid, you know. We watched the movie, and then at the very end we looked for her name. So anyway, but he met her on that trip, and they had, like, I don't know, a little rendezvous or whatever you want to call it. I mean, they were both single, but she was traveling the world. And so my dad was like, well, if you're ever in Indianapolis, well, she sure enough showed up in Indianapolis like 3 months later, and she stayed for a couple weeks, and she was really cool. She was really nice. I remember her back in the day. Her name was Rosemary. And maybe she edited, I think that's the movie that she edited. I'm almost positive it was. It was some, like, Australian movie like that. Anyway, she was a really cool woman. And, I mean, like, they were never, like, gonna settle down and be in love. It wasn't that kind of thing, you know. But, and she was, like, just traveling the world, like, gonna go everywhere. So anyway, but I can remember my dad saying, oh, Rosemary and I, when I told him about that movie years later, like when I was in high school and I saw it, he was like, oh, Rosemary and I remember her. He was like, we saw that at this little playhouse in Banff, Canada. So Night Mother is with Sissy Spacek and Anne Bancroft, and it takes place in one day. And Sissy Spacek has decided that she's going to take her life, and Anne Bancroft is her mother, and she doesn't really understand it. And they go through this whole thing, but there's a part in there where I can't remember who says it, Sissy Spacek, or this movie had, like, such a profound impact on me back then. But there's a part in there where I love Sissy Spacek and I love Anne Bancroft. 84 Charing Cross Road with Anne Bancroft is probably one of my all-time favorite movies. And Crimes of the Heart with Sissy Spacek, Jessica Lange. I mean, people want to talk about Jessica Lange today. I mean, Jessica Lange back in the day, and, like, Sweet Dreams and Blue Sky, Cape Fear, Crimes of the Heart is, I think, hands down her best movie ever. So it was Diane Keaton, Sissy Spacek, Jessica Lange, and Diane Keaton, and they play three sisters. And that, I think, was a Marcia Norman play too. Or maybe that was by the person that wrote Steel Magnolias. I can't remember. But anyway, fantastic, fantastic movie, tragic movie. And there's a scene when Jessica Lange is, like, in this silk robe, and she's just gotten out of the shower, and or no, she just is wearing a robe, and what's her name? Sissy Spacek just got out of the shower and she's like combing her hair, and they're sitting on the patio on this Victorian house that they have, this beautiful Victorian house. And Jessica Lange's like smoking a cigarette. Jessica Lange is the sexiest smoker that there has ever been, and maybe even more so than Bette Davis on film. And she's sitting there and she's smoking this cigarette, and Babe, who is played by Sissy Spacek, is asking her these questions, and she's like, I don't know, babe. And I'll never, like, this really soft music that's like the theme of the song of the movie is playing in the background, and it's like windy outside, and she like runs her fingers through this wind chime. It's like one of the greatest scenes in any movie ever, 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 ever. But there's a scene in Night Mother. I feel like they don't make movies like that anymore, you know? I feel like these great movies that back in the day, like Educating Rita, like that movie, like, did you ever see that movie, Educating Rita? The woman that played Rita, she ended up being the mom of, why can't I think of his name, from the Harry Potter movies? Jenny's mom, and I can't think of her brother, but it's Harry Potter's best friend, Ron Weasley. She ends up playing Mrs. Weasley in the movies, but she was in a movie way back in the day with Michael Caine, and it was called Educating Rita, and it was about this woman that she's like married and she's like unhappy and she's a bartender, and so she comes to college to start taking classes because she wants to be educated. It's very much like My Fair Lady, and Michael Caine becomes her professor, and I mean, she's very like off-putting at the beginning, but she goes through like this cathartic change. And there's this great scene, I don't know, I'm gonna get so emotional. My mom loved that movie. There's this great scene at the end when she comes back and he falls in love with her kind of over time, but she's kind of unaware of that. And there's a great scene at the end when she says, I want to thank you. Because he thinks, like, now that she's educated, he's turned her into something that she never was to begin with, and he calls her a phony or something like that. There's this, like, horribly sad scene in it. Oh my god, it's such a great movie. It's such a great movie. They don't make movies like that anymore. They just really don't. You know, I'm just saying that because my mom said that when I was younger. I mean, there were really some great movies out there that I feel like, where are the movies, you know? That's why I love those, like, Frances McDormand movies and stuff like that. It's like, those are the movies that I love, you know? I love those movies that are about normal people and, you know, things that we're going through in our lives. And so anyway, there's a movie, the movie Night Mother. One of them says in there, we can go to the moon, but we can't figure out yet what happens when we die. Like, we can send a man to the moon, but we can't figure out yet what happens when somebody dies. And I think it's from that movie. I don't know, maybe it's not, but it's from one of those kind of movies. And I remember I just was like, oh my god. Sissy Spacek has been in some great movies. Jessica Lange, Diane Keaton have been in some great movies. They're probably three of my all-time favorite actresses. Do you know what's interesting? If you like Kathy Bates from American Horror Story, like Kathy Bates, I mean, you know what's so interesting to me is that, like, people talk about how smart Ryan Murphy is, and Ryan Murphy is a genius. I mean, he's just a genius writer and putting a show together and stuff. But, like, when you watch a show like Coven, like American Horror Story, okay, you've got Sarah Paulson, who's probably one of the newest, greatest actresses ever. I mean, she's not even a new actress. She's been around for 20, 30 years now, right? So you got Sarah Paulson, okay? Then you pick Jessica Lange, and, why can't I think of her name? Angela Bassett, who's also one of my favorite actresses of life, from Waiting to Exhale, where she played Bernadine, to What's Love Got to Do with It, to How Stella Got Her Groove Back, which is probably one of my all-time favorite movies of life. You've got Angela Bassett and you've got Kathy Bates, right? I mean, alone. And then you've got Emma Roberts and all these people, and it's like, and we wonder why a show like that does well. Angela Bassett, Jessica Lange, Sarah Paulson, and Kathy Bates. And we wonder why a show like that is so good. And the thing is that's crazy about it is, like, that's like movie casting. Like Ryan Murphy movie casts, you know? I can't think of who that woman is. She played in the newest season of American Horror Story. She played the woman that, why can't I think of her name? She speaks with like a southern accent. She's got something in her mouth, like it looks like she has a tongue, like her tongue behind her lip. You guys know what I'm talking about. I love her. I love her. Her last name starts with a G. I can't think of her. But she was on a show back in the 90s called Popular, and it was also with the woman that was married to Melissa Etheridge for a while, and they all played cheerleaders. And do you guys remember that show? I love that show. She played Mary Cherry on that show. I was just talking about her the other day, and somebody's like, oh, you're talking about so-and-so, and they knew her name. I was like, how do you know her name? And they were like, I love her. And I was like, yeah, that's who I'm talking about. I love her too. So many great movies out there. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about the movies that impacted me as I was, you know, growing up. Out of Africa. You know, and honestly, I got all these movies from my mom. Like, these are all movies that my mom loved. I mean, she kind of lived in a world of movies as well. That's why in her eulogy I talked about movies, you know. I talked about, I can remember being asleep as a kid on the end of my mom's bed in the summer, you know, and my mom, the fan going, the windows open, and my mom would be sitting there in bed. This is so crazy to me. People smoking in their beds. Like my mom, I can remember, you know, she'd have like a beer or gin and tonics, you know, on the floor, on the carpet, you know, and then she'd have the ashtray next to her in bed, smoking one cigarette after another, watching The Way We Were. And there was something kind of like almost comforting to me about that smell and the windows being open. And you know, when I wake up, just as, you know, Barbara Streisand would say, you know, see ya, Hubble, see ya, Kate. And I talked about that in my eulogy. And my aunt used to smoke in her bedroom. Like, my aunt's quit smoking years before she passed away, but like, I don't know, it's just weird to me that people used to smoke in their bedrooms and in their houses, and I mean, does anybody even smoke in their house anymore? Like, I don't know. I just think that it's so weird to look in retrospect. You know what I mean? Oh, man. My mom loved the movie Legal Eagles so much that was, well, okay, first, she loved the movie Legal Eagles so much that she bought me that movie like 3 Christmases in a row on VHS. I, true story, have like 3 copies of it, 3 or 4 copies. And Legal Eagles is a fantastic movie, and if you've never seen it before, it's with Daryl Hannah, Deborah Winger, and Robert Redford. And Deborah Winger is she's defending Daryl Hannah that's accused of burning down, I think, this art gallery that has her father's artwork in it or something. I can't remember. It's like this really weird mystery. And so and then Deborah Winger and, I could talk about Deborah Winger all day long. Deborah Winger and Robert Redford kind of have this like love affair in it. But the true movie of Deborah Winger, I mean, this is the thing. You want to talk about being typecasted. I mean, she wasn't, but like the true movie of Deborah Winger will forever always be Terms of Endearment. I mean, that movie is so fantastic. It is such a great movie. And, do you know, I honestly have not seen that movie. I bet I haven't seen that movie in 15 or 20 years. I need to rewatch that movie. Dun, 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 dun. I love that theme song. Shirley MacLaine and Jack Nicholson in that movie. I mean, do you know they were supposed to do a sequel to that movie? They were. I think that movie was written, I think the book was written by Larry McMurtry, who wrote like Desert Rose, and he writes Westerns. I think he wrote that book. I'm almost positive of that. I think I bought the book and I never ended up reading it. And then I don't know if anybody's ever seen this movie, but it's called Black Widow, and it's with Teresa Russell, and I don't know what Teresa Russell is famous for. I can't remember now, but she was in this movie called Black Widow, and it was her and Deborah Winger, and Deborah Winger was an FBI agent. FBI or FBI. CIA is more like spy stuff, right? She was an FBI agent, and there were like these incredibly rich men that were passing away, and whenever they would pass away, their wife was gone. And the first one, I can't remember what the first one was. Like the first one, you're not there when he dies. Like it's like been years like before. The second one is like she gets this news about this guy, and he was like poisoned, and so anyway, it's about Deborah Winger. And the Black Widow is played by Teresa Russell, and she goes after these extremely wealthy men. Like this one guy is like a museum curator, and he's like part of this it's just like the movie is so good. And but I've like had other people watch it, and they didn't really like it as much as I did. And so then like she ends up like going after this guy that's Hawaiian, and so she goes to Hawaii, and so Deborah Winger goes to Hawaii, and like she befriends her, and she ends up like Teresa Russell knows what she's doing. Like she's really smart, and she figures out like what she's doing, kind of. She thinks she's jealous of her or something like that. It's just like, it is such a great movie. I'm gonna have to buy a bunch of these movies on iTunes now that I talk about them, because I'm gonna tell you, here's the thing about iTunes, and I know people are gonna be like, well, they'll never get rid of those movies. That's not true. There's movies that used to be over on iTunes, like Showgirls, that aren't over there anymore. And I know you might say to yourself, well, why would you ever want to own Showgirls? Because when you're getting ready to go to Vegas, a movie like Showgirls is kind of a fun movie to watch, okay? Especially when that one chick from Saved by the Bell is like, and she like kicks that guy in that room. I love that movie, Showgirls. Well, I love Gina Gershon. I love Gina Gershon so much. Gina Gershon in anything, I love her in. That chick played Jessie on Saved by the Bell. I don't care so much about her, but Gina Gershon I love. I think plus just the idea of going to Las Vegas and, you know, like starting as like nothing and like becoming like the picture on the show. I mean, that's kind of Peter Munn's dream a little bit, you know. Oh my God. There was another movie I was just thinking about that I was going to talk about. Teresa Russell, what else was she in? Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. I don't know why I was thinking about this. Well, I was thinking of this because of the one hairdo when Deborah Winger goes and talks to the sister of the one guy that has passed away in Black Widow. The sister has kind of a similar hairdo or something as Diane Lane does in Wild at Heart. Have you guys ever seen Wild at Heart? That's another movie I'm going to have to buy. I've got that on DVD and on VHS in my basement. Have you guys ever seen Wild at Heart, the David Lynch movie? Didn't he do Dune? F this Dune stuff. No. What do you call it? This is like one of the most fantastic movies I've ever... I became like obsessed with it when I was like probably 21, 20 years old. My friend back in the day, we knew every line. And she was... Well, I can't think of what her name was, but Laura Dern, Lulu. She was Lulu and I was Sailor in that movie. I mean, true story. That movie is such a great movie. Oh my God, there's that one scene when they're driving down the road to New Orleans, and it has such great music in it too. And Lula's smoking a cigarette, and he goes, Nicolas Cage, he goes to Laura Dern, he goes, that don't smell like a cool. And she goes, it ain't. It's one of the lessons of life. I don't know why, but the lines in the movie are just like so fantastic. And it's real weird though. Like if you liked Twin Peaks, because David Lynch did Twin Peaks, you know, then you would really like... I just can't, I mean, I don't know. I can't live in a world where people haven't seen these movies. Like, it's crazy to me. And now I feel like I live in a world where people haven't seen these movies. Everybody that I talk to, nobody knows these movies anymore. Back in the day, like my friends and my mom and everybody, they all knew these movies. I don't have anybody to talk to about these movies anymore. Tanya doesn't know these movies. She could care less about these kind of movies. Tanya's like, we were talking about movies tonight, and she's like, oh yeah, Eric and I last night watched the Jungle Boat or whatever it is, the new Disney movie, and which I would never watch like in a million years because I'd be so bored of it. And I said, but like that's something Alex would totally want to watch. And I said, so I would watch it for him. I said, how was it? She's like, it was really cute. And I was like, give me a good Frances McDormand drama any day. Did you guys ever see the movie back in the day, Judy Berlin? Oh my God, that movie was so good. I can't think of that gal's name that was in it. Do you know what I'm going to start watching again on Netflix? So here's the thing I've been doing. while I've been like uploading videos and working on videos on YouTube, like I used to put a movie on behind me on the TV, but I think I'm gonna start playing like shows and stuff on Netflix. Not shows that I like need to pay attention to, but other shows. So I used to watch Kath and Kim back in the day. Well, when I was looking at the cast of Wentworth the other day, the actress that plays Vera, she used to be, or she was on like a season or two or something like that of Kath and Kim, which if you guys have never seen Kath and Kim, it's this Australian show, and it is so good. It is Kath and her daughter Kim, and they are hilarious. It is so good, but very endearing too. Another show that I would highly recommend, which is, I think it's Australian as well, is, it looks like Jamie, but I believe it's pronounced Jamie, and, because it's like J apostrophe, but anyway, and she's like this schoolgirl. It's actually a guy. I've got to go in here and change the battery because it's about to die. But it's actually this guy doing the character. He's like a stand-up comedian, but like he doesn't play it as like drag. He plays it as like a character. You guys, it is one of the best TV shows I have ever seen in my entire life. And they're all like they're in their final year of it's so funny. They're in their like final year of school, and they're called like pre-selects or something. I can't remember what, because our schools don't have those terms here. And she's like the number one student, and so like she always has to like to the teachers be like really, it's just so funny. Go watch it. Like to the teachers, she has to be like polite and stuff, but then as soon as they turn their back, she's like saying stuff behind them, and she's mean to the kids. She's like a bully. And then she's like crying to her dad when she's like wants a birthday party, and her mom won't let her have it. And she's like, Daddy! It's so funny. It is one of the best shows ever. Okay, let me change this battery. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I also need to look in here because here it is, right here. Last night I took my battery out and I put it on the seat, and oh, where are my reading glasses? I was like, did I leave them at the restaurant? If I don't take my bag, can I just tell you, first of all, my life has improved tenfold since carrying a purse, period, in the story, okay? Call it a merce, call it a purse, call it a bag, call it a messenger bag, I don't care what you call it, but my life has improved tenfold. Because here's the thing. Wherever I go, if I have that bag with me, like if I need my reading glasses, my wallet, a leave for my headaches, tissues, which I usually keep in here. I need to get a little pack of those tissues. Or, you know, like whatever. Like I keep my masks in here in case I'm going in somewhere, so I always have a mask here. You know, it's like everything that I need is in my bag. Now, I do change my purse out a couple times a week. I do. Well, not a couple times a week, but like I changed this out today because I used this black one. And, anyway, I love this bag. So, I changed it out today to this bag, and because I was wearing all black, and so I wanted to kind of like match with that. But, it has like really improved my life in a way that is like, I don't know why I just allowed people before and what people thought of men carrying bags to like really bother me. Okay, I wanted to look on here. I wanted to see about movies in terms of endearment. Okay. Dun 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 dun. I'm gonna buy some movies, just so y'all know, okay? And then I gotta talk to you about something else. About book club here in a second. If I do not buy these movies now, I'm trying to have like a collection on my iTunes so that I can always have them there. Okay. If I don't do that, what was the other one? The other movie that I was talking about? Oh, let's do Night Mother, because I have a feeling that one's going to be a hard one to find. Night Mother. Oh, here it is. Okay. I will tell you that one is very sad. Crimes of the Heart. I want that one. Crimes of the Heart. Crimes of the Heart. That was the cheapest one so far to buy. Can't even believe it. That is such a great movie. And then, what was the other one with Deborah Winger that I said? A Black Widow. Yeah, I didn't think they would have that movie. See All. Oh, they do have it. This can't be it. Deborah Winger and Teresa Russell star in the dark psychological thriller. Getting it. These are probably all on Netflix, and I'm being stupid, but I don't care. Okay, let's just go to the movies. What else was I talking about? What other movies was I talking about? Is this the new Daniel Craig movie? Ah! Oh my God, the new James Bond movie is out? I didn't know that. Daniel Craig returns one last time as James Bond, starring alongside Oscar winner Rami Malek, 2019. Oh, he was so good. He was so good looking too. I can't tell it. I can't tell it. Okay. His piece is short-lived when his old friends, Felix... I feel like I've seen this one before. 2021. Oh my God, you can rent that. We might have to do that this week. Are there any other new movies that I want to see out? What's Stillwater? Why do I feel like I know this movie? A dramatic thriller directed by Academy Award winner Tom McCarthy and starring Matt Damon. Stillwater follows an American oil rig roughneck from Oklahoma who travels to Marseille to visit his estranged daughter in prison for a murder she claims she did not commit. That looks really good. I Want to See Respect by Aretha Franklin. Those look good. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. What's this After We Fall everybody's talking about? Is this I thought it was Taylor Swift's song. I don't know anything about that movie. I don't care. I do want to see Dear Evan Hansen, but I want to read the book first, and I have the book, so I need to read it first. Limited time prices. Movie of the week. I've never heard of these movies. Paul Rudd and Will Ferrell movies. You guys, I have to tell you that probably one of the funniest movies I've ever seen is right here. This Is 40. I did not want to see that, and Alex a couple years ago was like, let's watch it, and we watched it, and you guys, that movie is seriously so funny. I mean, it is totally, like This Is 40. I mean, if you guys have never seen it, it is, and you're over 40, watch it. It is, like, so funny. I usually don't like movies like that, but it was really good. And I just recently watched Anchorman, and I thought it was so funny. Well, I guess I should say I watched part of Anchorman. Oh my God! $8.99 James Bond movies! No way! Goldfinger. If they have... Oh, they have A View to a Kill. I think you can usually get the... You can usually get the James Bond movies, can't you, though? What's the one that I love? Live and Let Die. I got that one because it's like my favorite. I feel like you can get these movies, though, any other time. Casino Royale. Is that the one on the beach? The Daniel Craig Collection. What's that? Oh, for $39, you can get all 4 movies. One of the most artistically... What's the one that takes place on the beach? Daniel Craig is hands down one. Oh my God, the James Bond Collection. How many movies are in this? Oh my God, the whole thing is $100? You get every James Bond movie. No, I don't need to do all that. Not since I just paid $8.99 for Live and Let Die. Early releases. Okay, under $10. Under $8. Great duos. Okay, let's see this. Oh, this is going to be bad. Okay, The Heat. I love that movie. Pulp Fiction. Oh, God, I love that movie. Fight Club. Oh, such a good movie. My mom loved Fight Club. The Hitman's Bodyguard. Romeo and Michelle's High School Reunion. Oh my God, there's too many of these that I want. Can you believe I haven't seen La La Land yet? Okay. That movie, Ted, is so stupid. The Birdcage, seen it too many times. Okay, Wayne's World, dumb. The Hustle, I love that movie, The Hustle. Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar is probably one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. I already have it. Thelma and Louise. I got so excited. I already own it. Okay. Not that. We're not going to do that. Great movie prices. What's the $7.99? Let's look down at these. Okay. Oh my God, The Long Kiss Goodnight. I love that movie so much. Listen to me getting so excited about these movies. I've never even heard of some of these movies on here. Alex and I saw Argo in the movie theater. Purple Rain. I should buy that just because it's $7.99 and it's just such a classic, but it's not one of my favorite movies in all eyes. It's not one of my favorite movies, in all honesty. Eyes Wide Shut is one of the worst movies ever in the face of the earth. And I remember when that movie came out and everybody was like, ooh, Eyes Wide Shut, it's so bad. I always go through these movies and there's really never like that much. I'm like, oh, I gotta have this, you know? Argo, the extended cut, who'd care? Okay. Noteworthy. Top rentals. I wonder how long those James Bond movies are gonna be. Because I would maybe like to buy more of those. Oh my God, under $3. Let's do this. Here, come on. Let's see if we've ever heard of any of these. No. The Year Without a Santa Claus. I'm not buying. What? $9.99. It says under $3. Oh, rentals under $3. No, thank you. Oh, Fatal Attraction. What is she saying there? What's that line? Something about, what's the famous line? Hold on, I gotta look it up. This is gonna be my Glenn Close reenactment. I'm not like a Glenn Close super fan, but I have to say, like, did you ever see, it was recent, the wife, she deserved an Academy Award for that movie. I'm sorry. She was so good, and she was so good in Fatal Attraction too. But what's that? Hold on a second. My dad has always, he does not like Glenn Close based on the movie Fatal Attraction. Is that not so funny? What is that line from that movie? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Oh my God, it was like, you won't answer my calls? You change your number? I mean, I'm not gonna be ignored, Dan. Do you guys remember that from that movie? Oh, I love that movie so much. Oh, I miss my mom. My mom and I would sit and talk about movies forever. Well, here's to you, Mom. We'd have a cup of coffee and she'd cut some cheese slices up. Havarti, thank you very much. And we'd sit there and talk about movies, and it was so fun. And I miss those days, but yeah. So let me talk to you a little bit about the book club, okay? First of all, I finished my fifth book in the Campers and Criminals series by Tawny Kappas last night. I'm obsessed with that series. I read 5 books in a row. The last one was really good. But I was like, I think I need to take a break for a little bit and get back to it. And y'all know I'm reading cozies all this month, okay? First of all, let me just tell you. Are you ready for this? I have 4 more books to read until I have read my... until I have met my goal for the year, okay? I have 4 more books. I'm at 98 right now. 99, 100, 101, and 102. And I have met my goal for the year. I'm going to meet my goal probably by Thanksgiving. I'm so excited. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I'm going to read the true crime book because we postponed doing the October book discussion, which we were going to do this last weekend. And we were supposed to do it today, but I had to go to his funeral, so we couldn't do it today. So Mel and I talked about it, and we're like, let's just do both books when we discuss the November book. I was like, okay. Now, I usually wait till the very last minute, but I'm like, by then, I'm going to want to listen to Christmas cozies and all that kind of stuff. And I think that for my December book, for Peter's Book Club, I am going to make it the first book in a cozy mystery series. I'm going to look and see what brand new books are out that are in cozy mystery series, because there's like 12 new ones that came out, and I'm going to pick one that's like the first book in a new series, so that if anybody wants to read a cozy mystery series with me, we can all start together in December. And that's going to be my first book that's going to be my book that I picked for Peter's Book Club for December. Mel and I have not talked about, we need to talk about this because it's like the 15th tomorrow, right? Yeah, we haven't picked a book for December. I don't think we've talked about a couple ideas, but we haven't talked about one yet. So I was like, I'm going to read the November book right now. So I started last night after I finished the Tawny Kappas book, which is called Motorhomes, Maps, and Murder. It was really cute. It was really good. I've given all of them 5 stars because I think I might have given the first one 4 stars, and afterwards I've given it 5 stars because I've just totally fallen in love with the characters and the people, and Mae West, the main character, is just fantastic. So I love the romance in it, which is just enough. I love the food discussion. I love the mysteries, and the murders are really well done. And I never know who did it till the very end. They're really well done murder mysteries. It's really cute. So I started last night A Dark Room in Glitter City. I didn't really know what to think about this. Okay, now I will tell you, I picked this book. Mel didn't know anything about it. I saw it come up on Audible. I read the thing about it. And it's about this murder that occurred in Louisville, Kentucky in 2010. And it was in the gay community down there. And it was, I think, somebody that was a drag queen was murdered. And these 2 guys that live in this old Victorian were, accused of the crime. That's really all I know about it. So I was like, let's try this book. And Mel's like, okay. And I told her, I said, girl, I don't know anything about this book. I said, so if this book sucks, I said, it's all on me, Okay, I was talking about a friend of mine in Louisville. But anyway, so I was like getting ready to start this book, and I was like, I don't really know what to think about this book. And I was like, let's just see where it goes. So I started it last night, and I got like an hour into it. You guys, this book so far is really well done. It is first person point of view. The guy, and he is a professor in Louisville. I mean, this is the author. It's his story. And he and his partner actually, like at the beginning of it, they were going to buy the house where this occurred, like years before, like 15 years before, 10 years before, something like that. So they walk through it, and all of this weird stuff happens, okay? Or they see all this weird stuff. Not to mention that this guy that's the writer, like, he writes true crime and paranormal stuff. Like, he's known for that. So he's very, very involved in, like, the artistic center, or artistic scene of Louisville, Kentucky. And kind of not, like, the artsy scene, but like the old scene, you know, like Churchill Downs and the Kentucky Derby and like the old rich of like Louisville, Kentucky. Like, he's kind of in that whole scene and invited to these parties and stuff. It's very interesting, you guys. And so it starts with them looking at the house, and then it flashes forward to the day of the murder being announced. And they like know one of the guys because he was a bartender at like a local gay bar and stuff like that. You guys, I'm telling you, it's really good. It's like so far, and I don't know, it'll probably turn into like this court document thing where it just says courts. But so far, it's just like his speculating and talking to people. Like, he's at this party right now, and he's like overhearing these two drag queens, and he's like, the way that he describes what they have on, like, anyway, it's just so specific, and I mean, it's really fantastic, you guys, and it's beautifully written. Now, it may get into just like court documents where it gets really boring, but I don't know. So far, it's just very much a personal telling. I'm excited about reading it. And the narration is done very well as well on Audible. So, there you go. I wanted to mention that. And I have no idea at this point how long I've been vlogging for. Like, none whatsoever. Dream. But I do know, am I out of coffee yet? No, I've got like half a cup left. Does your Keurig bring all the... Anyway, that was a stupid joke. Does your Keurig not fill up all the way? Like, and it drives you crazy even on like the highest? Like, even the brand new Keurig, when I put it in there, if I put on like the highest, like the biggest cup, it's like I have 3 sizes on our Keurig, and it still doesn't fill this up. And this isn't a big cup of coffee. It drives me kind of crazy. But anyway. Dream. People are putting up Christmas lights, you guys. I love it. I love it. It's making me so happy. There's like several houses in there that have them up already. Maybe on Thanksgiving I'll have to do like a little tour of the Christmas lights. After my pie caking. And don't forget that tomorrow is the live stream. If you're watching this before the live stream, tomorrow is the live stream with the Vloggerinos. I'm really nervous about it. I was talking to Tanya about it tonight. She's like, why aren't you nervous about it? I said, girl, you know, I don't think people really realize, like, my social anxiety, like, how bad it is. She's like, you'll be fine. I love when people say that. You'll be fine. Bungee jump off a 100-story building. Girl, you'll be fine. Skydive, you'll be fine. Those are things I will never do, just so you know. I try to keep my feet as grounded on the ground as possible. I don't love to fly. I do it because there are places in the world that I want to go. But as far as like taking these huge risks, I don't really find the necessity to do that. As about the biggest risk that I'm going to take is that on Shudder right now, there's that movie Great White, which I don't think I've seen yet. Which is about a great white shark, and like it shows this huge shark. Like, if you've seen the trailer for it, it's this little person over here swimming, and this shark coming for it. And I'm like, that actually kind of did look like a shark a little bit, didn't it? That even, I started getting scared, wanting to pull my feet up. But anyway, that's about as much risk as I take watching a movie like that. I just really can't. Like, it scares the hell out of me to even walk. Like, I don't know. I don't like sharks. I don't like all that kind of stuff. Alex is always like, I'd bungee jump off the tallest building in the world. He wants to skydive so bad. I'm like, please don't. That scares me. Look over here. See? They did all their decorations. Do you see? They got decorations up for Christmas. I know you couldn't see it because it was like covered by trees by the time that I got around. Anyway, where am I at on time? Well, listen, you guys. I think I'm going to get off here now and listen to a true crime book clubs. We should have made it the True Crime Book Club. I told Mel that one day, and she was like, yeah, I agree. She goes, but it's too late now. And I said, do you want to go back and change it? She goes, no. I said, me neither. So from now on, I'm just going to call it the True Crime Book Club or a True Crime Book Club. Whatever comes out of my mouth, it doesn't matter. It just, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm gonna go listen to the book for a true crime book club. So anyway, and then after I finish that, I'm gonna listen to the Leanne O'Yeardy book, which is the book for Peter's book club. So I'm trying to get those books listened to this week. They're both long. This one is like 13 minutes and 20 some seconds, or 13 hours and like 22 minutes. And the Leanne O'Yeardy book is like 18 hours and 3 minutes. They're both like really long. So, I mean, 13 hours is reasonable. 18 hours I think is really long for a book, but I'll tell you what's the worst in the world is when you pick an 18-hour book that you have no desire to read whatsoever. Like, I loved that House of Gucci book, but I will tell you, there were parts that really dragged for me. I mean, it was really a long book. Do you hear me, Mal, if you're listening? No more long. I think we should keep our books under 10 hours on Audible is what I think. Because I just think it's harder, you know. I don't know. Anyway, well, this book, it's hard, see, you can't, and then you want to read something different, and the only book that there is that's good out there is a book that's like 16 or 18 hours, and that's the problem, right? Like, if you want to effectively read about a certain case, many of these true crime cases, the only really good documented book is very long. So if you're going to read it, you have to read a long book like that, and then I think what happens with the book club is, a lot of people aren't that interested in that topic, and so then they're like, well, I'm not going to read an 18-hour book about Eileen Wuornos when I don't care about Eileen Wuornos, you know what I mean? And I think that's what happens. I think sometimes when we read the shorter books, people are more likely to read them, but I don't know. We haven't had a short book in a while. This book's 13 hours. The last book, House of Gucci, was 18 hours or something like that. I mean, I'm really glad I read it. And I have to say, it's interesting in my personal life how many times that book has come into discussions that I've had with people. So it's interesting, and, you know, I'm glad that I read it, and I can't wait to go see the movie. But at the same time, it was like, oh my Lord, that was a long book, you know? I could have read 15 cozy mysteries in that time. Anyway, all right, you guys, listen, I'm gonna get off here now. I hope that you guys are, oh, not before that. Before that, I have to say, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Monday. Oh, no, wait. This is Sunday. I hope you're having a magically amazing Monday. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! And for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just stuck around, one more, I love you. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya!